Alright, so in this video I'm going to be putting out a hypothesis for why my solar system is not really working. Right now we're at a pretty cloudy day, but the batteries are at 12.4 volts, and on the chargers themselves it shows 12.8 at 8 amps on one, almost 4 amps on the other, and 4 amps on that one. Which is, if everything is correct here, if it's actually showing the charge rate correctly, that's pretty, I'm going to say it's pretty good for a cloudy day. But the odd thing is, it remains pretty much like this, even on a sunny day. And these are 400 watt, and 600 watt controllers. So each one of these should actually put out about at least 20 amps on a sunny day, but they actually seem to work. It seems to, the numbers go up when it's like this, when it's cloudy. So there, it's going up to 13 volts now. And it is charging the batteries. I know it's doing something because they never fully discharge. It runs the fridge all night long. I run these heavy duty tools during the day. But I'm just not satisfied that the system, it should be producing more voltage. Now I've got 6 big car batteries, and that's 730 CCAs. They're very big batteries. So you'd think that when I connect a load, you wouldn't get much of a voltage drop. But I'll turn the grinder on and we'll see there's a significant voltage drop right away. And I mean, it's probably because these batteries are crap. They are old and crappy. Very old and crappy. Like, very much. But they're doing something. They're at least maintaining my fridge. That's a fact. So I know people are going to say, well, bad batteries and get rid of them, but they are doing something. But my question is, my doubt here is that, and this, I'm just kind of new to this subject of battery internal resistance. So if I leave the system untouched for about 2-3 days, when I come back here, it'll actually get to about 14 volts. It'll show 14 volts. In total, so we've got 10 amps there, 5 amps here, and 6 amps there. So it's putting out around 23 amps of charge, supposedly. So even theoretically, when I turn something on, it should draw a little bit more power. It should try to maintain that. But before I actually do this test, I'm wondering if the battery internal resistance acts as a black hole for amperage. So it keeps the solar charge controllers keep trying to charge it, but it doesn't really accept. It doesn't really take the charge. I've never seen the way this is set up right now, even on a sunny day with sunlight directly on the solar panels. I've never seen the amperages get much higher than this. And for some reason, this one on the left here always shows more amperage than the other ones, even though this one is a 600 watt panel controller. And this one is just connected I over paneled it, so with this one I've got 2 panels two solar panels of 260 watts each in parallel. With this one, I've got like 4, so maybe that's why. It's probably why this one produces more. This one, I've got 3, 2 in parallel and 1 in series to get higher voltage. So it's actually a higher voltage charge controller. The output voltage is obviously the same. These are all the same brand, as you can see. So my working theory here is that, with all this together, I should be getting at least somewhere close to 1,000 watts and 20 amps each, but I'm not getting, like this one, for example, it's connected to, at 400 watts, even if it was just getting 300, we'd still get like 15 amps. So it's producing a lot less power than what it's supposed to. The other thing I will note is that on the controllers themselves, it shows 13.1 on these two, but that one on the bottom, it actually shows, it says battery voltage, so it actually matches what's on here. You notice there's this, the inverters themselves show 12.8 or 12.7 volts, whereas on the charge controllers it shows 13.2, so almost 1 volt difference. And the reason I think, I might be mistaken here, I think that these two charge controllers, they show what they're putting out and not what's actually the voltage on the battery. So in a car, for example, with the alternator on, it'll show about 14 volts, 14.5, depending, or 13.7. Anyways, higher than when you turn it off, the car is off, the battery will be at around 12.6 volts. So I think this one, it actually says bat voltage, not Batman. The battery voltage, right? So I think that one actually shows the same as what's on here, the actual voltages at the batteries, whereas that higher voltage is what it's putting out. But let's I'm going to do this test here for the record. This is a 9 amp grinder, so it's pretty heavy duty stuff. There you go, 9 amps at 115 volts. So that's about 800 watts. Theoretically, it actually only runs at about 450 watts. Let's turn it on. You can see how the battery dropped right away. 11.6. I just turned it on. There, 430 watts when it's running. Or actually less than that, because the fridge is using 100 watts, so it's actually only 300 watts. And the solar panels, notice how the output voltage has dropped. It's gradually trying to come back up again. I'm just going to turn this off. And as soon as I turn it off, it starts climbing back up again. So, again, this is more a for the record video, until I can figure this stuff out. But leave your comments if you if you've got any ideas. My other theory might be that that they're fighting against each other. Okay, so I'll mention this. The solar charge controllers, they're the same. As you can see, everything's set up the same, and each one gets its power source from a separate solar array. And then the outputs just go all together. You see all their outputs are here in parallel. All right, so basically different sources, and then they've got different inputs, and then they've got a common output. And then all of them go through those thick battery cables up into the bank, across these the aluminum terminal bars. So I did try. I don't think they're fighting against each other, because I did try disconnecting them, and just disconnecting two and leaving one, and the amperages still remain the same. So I think it's got more to do with the batteries being old and shitty. And you see, when the batteries are actually getting charged, the amperage over time, the charge amperage it gets smaller, it gets lower. So it'll reach like 14 volts, that it's only charging at like 2 amps. Now the other issue that I find with this system is that my ultimate goal is to get rid of the batteries. I hate batteries. They're expensive and they're crappy, and they give me all sorts of shit. I usually just work during the day, so I don't need much storage, electrical storage during the night. So I don't really need batteries. My ultimate objective is to get use power directly from the solar panels. And this is important because the way this system works is the charge controllers charge the batteries, but when you've got a load from the inverter, it'll allow you to drain the battery first until it tries, and then it'll basically recharge the battery. Whereas I want something that has that available amperage right away, so that the batteries never get discharged. And I think that I'm not too certain, but from the research that I've been doing, buck converters actually do this. So they don't have any float functions, or they don't have any intelligent battery charging functions. They're just a DC to DC converter, and it just gives you that maximum amperage as much as you need it. So again, basically these things are intelligent, so they turn off at certain points for certain amounts of time, and then they charge the battery very slowly at low amperages so that it extends the life of the battery, blah blah blah, and all that shit. Whereas the other things, they just give you maximum amperage, whatever you need, right away, and that's what I think I need. I don't care about the batteries. I just care about getting available sunlight used. Basically, again, with newer chargers, you got newer battery intelligent chargers that do that. They turn off, they charge at only 2 amps, and then they increase, and then they turn off. They do all sorts of things to try to even fix the battery. But the old chargers, like this one, for example, all you do is you select a charge rate. This one is even a little bit newer, so it's got a few other things here. But you just select your amperage. So at 10 amps or 2 amps, basically. Some of the big shops chargers went up to like 75 amps. You just select that, and that's what you got. No intelligent bullshit, just on or off. So basically, what could happen is you'd get a dead battery, and then you dump 60 amps on a dead battery, damages it. That's kind of the idea. That's why they came out with these newer intelligent ones. But the older ones were more reliable, and they worked for hundreds of years, quite literally. So here's another one. No fancy buttons, no nothing, just 12 amps at 12 or 14 volts out. That's it. So my objective is to use something more simple and reliable without having to depend on batteries. Anyways, if you're into this kind of thing as well, feel free to comment, and we'll see how this goes.